Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Vinod Kumar Ramachandran on the line, and he's co-founder and CEO over at Big Sur AI. Vinod, welcome to the show.
Hi, Adam. Great to be here. Thanks for hosting me.
All right, we got a lot to talk about here today. So we'll talk about revolutionizing retail and AI agents and tools. We got a lot to cover. And when we think about AI in general, there's a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of executives out here that listen to this show. I guess just to take a step or two back, Vinod, before we get into Big Sur AI, maybe talk to me a little bit more just about how you got into tech in general. Like, where did all that begin for you?
Well, I started my career as a software engineer several years ago, working for Motorola, building many wireless solutions, some of the 4G technologies that we use today or we used to use earlier. I contributed to some of them. And so that's what got me interested into tech, which then eventually led me to spending a long time at Google building some of the most exciting consumer products like Chrome and then many, advertising and shopping related products.
When you were working on those products, I'm curious, like taking me back to the early days a little bit more, like what was that like working in that big infrastructure of Google or just in general? What was that like?
Well, I think my early days at Google were some of the best in my career in terms of the kind of innovation that was going on, just across the company. I felt like a kid in a candy store.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the best part is like the amazing talent that the company had at the time. And everybody doing some really interesting work. Almost every launch was, impacting users in a really positive way. And you can feel the energy and the vibe at the time. It was really wonderful. And I think I almost feel like every tech employee should go through some kind of experience like that in their career, not just at Google, but anywhere where, you're building some really awesome stuff that reaches the consumers or your customers in a profound way.
Now, did you know, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I don't know if this was like a specialty or something that you already had figured out or in general. So obviously correct me on this, but did you know you were going to start like going further and further into AI? And did you also know that one day you'd be an entrepreneur, like a co-founder?
Well, I think the desire to start a company and build something with a team myself, this has been a desire for a few years now. And so it's not like an overnight thing before we started this company. So we've been thinking about this for many years. But, the evolution of AI, many people used to work on machine learning, which then, kind of like transition now to AI. I think there was a time where it was very clear to me and to my co-founder that there is a major disruption and a shift that is happening. And so from a timing perspective, it was perfect to start a company because a lot of like the ground was shifting underneath. And so there are a lot of opportunities to go build some interesting new things in various verticals. So we are working in the retail and e-commerce space, but more generally, I think this AI opened up a big sort of opportunity to go build new companies.
So with your skill set, your background, obviously you're in, correct me if I'm off in this, you were in NorCal, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I'm in the Bay Area, correct.
That's what I thought. I mean, obviously lots of contacts, lots of individuals there. You're, Google alum, a lot of different things you could do. How did you settle on Big Sur AI? Like, how did you settle on the concept? Let's start there maybe.
Yeah. So as I said, I spent a long time at Google working on many advertising and shopping related products. And one of the things that I observed from close is that every brand, as you know, is spending on ads on either Google or Meta or another ad platform just to keep up. And so I've been on this side where they're spending all this money, but usually these advertising ecosystems favor the largest enterprises who have the deeper pockets. And what happens is the smaller and mid-sized businesses are just like kind of forced to spend more and more just to keep up, right? And over time, you start seeing diminishing returns. And, I refer to this as like the Google or the Meta tax that brands have to pay in order to stay in business, right? And what happens is that what they call the customer acquisition cost, so the CAC continues to go up And even when you're spending more and you're bringing those users to your site, the conversion rates have basically remained stagnant for a long time.
Yeah.
And so how could you kind of like do something about this imbalance? And that's what really inspired us to think about a solution, think about a platform that can we build this platform that could level the playing field for all brands, regardless of their size, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I strongly believe with the advent of AI that this imbalance can only widen if simply the status quo continues and if nobody does anything about it. So that's why, we wanted to kind of address some of the inefficiencies that we saw. Too many businesses sort of wasting their budget on ads that weren't generating enough value. And so can we actually change that? And that's how this whole idea of Mixer AI was born. Can we help every brand compete and thrive regardless of their size? Because ultimately, that's what leads to more consumer choices.
Yeah, and many people, I would argue, I like the way you word that the Meta or the Google tax is just a given, just to keep up, even if that intuitively, or not by intuitively, excuse me, from your numbers, your data, right? I'm spending more, but we're staying pretty level, and you're like, what is this like? That diminishing return, many of us out there have found us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you a stat, right? I think people have found that the CAC has gone up by 222% in the last 10 to 12 years, right?
Wow.
So it's basically, it's become so much more expensive to acquire these users. And there is no concept of, hey, once the user comes to your brand and, maybe makes a purchase, that they become your user for the future either. Basically, the users kind of go back to these meta platforms every time they are beginning a shopping journey. So you are almost forced to pay the tax for every transaction that happens on your store. And so I think with the AI, there's an opportunity to kind of maybe perhaps change this a little bit, maybe make the brands a little less dependent on other platforms, particularly on advertising. And so that's the genesis of our company.
So go further on into that. So why should online merchants be thinking about AI tools? How does Big Sur really kind of help solve some of this problem?
Yeah, so, we are basically trying to shift the control for brands from these advertising platforms to where they have the most control, which is their own website, their own business operations, and so on. So what we are building, I tend to say this, we are building the only AI platform that an e-commerce brand will ever need. So you can think of it as your team of specialized AI agents, each tailor-made for handling different functions within a retailer's operation. So for example, our AI sales agent transforms online shopping conversion rates by creating AI experiences on the merchant's website that mirror the personal attention that you would get if you walked into a brick and mortar store and talked to an amazing salesperson there. So we are bringing that experience online, which helps guide customers through their shopping journey with better, more personalized product recommendations, which in turn leads to higher conversion rates and incremental sales for the brand. Another AI agent is our AI content marketer, which is an employee of the brand's marketing team that can supercharge their team by instantly creating high-impact landing pages for both paid campaigns and SEO. So things that would take multiple weeks for them to produce can be done in minutes, right? So it's like a superpower that their marketing team can acquire. And then we also have our AI data scientist, which is basically about putting powerful analytics in the people's hands at the retailer so that it can turn all the complex data into insights for growth. So we are building out this platform of even more AI agents to cover every function of a retailer's business, so that these businesses have those tools to be able to thrive in this AI era. So you can think of, our vision is to become sort of the one-stop solution for everything AI in e-commerce. So that's where, we are moving towards.
That's great. And when you think about it, I was kind of visualizing when you're talking about this, some of my in-person experiences, and I'm not going to say the name of some of these big box retailers because it's just not fair and no point in even doing that. But I will say some of them you walk into and you're and I miss what you're talking about now for many of maybe some of the brick and mortars, that service, that custom tailored experience, even when you're meeting somebody in person kind of is lacking sometimes. So I'm thinking if an AI agent that I interact with a particular brand, and if that kind of gets to know me, and I think in time, and it could feel superior for me. I mean, as a shopper specifically, I'm not talking about as a technologist or creating the stuff. I mean, like as a shopper, I'm kind of putting myself in that mindset, and I'm like, man, that'd be nice if somebody knew me for a change, right? From a brand.
Yeah, totally. I mean, in fact, once you kind of go through those experiences, it'll be very hard to not have them, right? And the other mega trend that is happening,
it'd be hard not to have them. So if you're shopping, let's make sure I understood what you said. If you're shopping at one brand and you're getting this experience, and then there's a competitor or something else like that, even if it's all things being equal, you might be if you have that experience with one, you're not going to want to go to the competitor. Is that what you're saying? I want to make sure I caught that.
That's exactly right. I mean, it will become a huge point of dissatisfaction if the brand is not offering this type of an experience, right? Man. So like, you said, if you walked into a brick and mortar store, right, the way you would communicate with this salesperson is that you are communicating your need. You're not translating your need into some like search query and typing it somewhere, right? Like you're actually communicating.
I hope not. That'd be kind of weird.
Right. And so imagine if you're able to do that, and you could go to a site that sells, let's say, camping gear, and you're able to say things like, hey, I'm going camping this weekend with my 2 kids. We are a beginner camper. Which tent should I buy? Right? This is something that you cannot ask anybody other than a smart salesperson today on an e-commerce site, right? So how can we make this experience completely viable with AI and make it available 24/7 to every visitor coming to the store? So once you kind of go through this type of experience, it's really hard to go back in time. And the other sort of mega trend that's happening, as you probably are very aware, is all the AI search engines, whether it's ChatGPT or Google AI overviews, etc., are training users to expect answers whenever they issue a question, right? They no longer want to kind of browse through multiple links and do the research themselves. So when they come to your brand store, they expect the same type of guidance. Hey, can there be something here that can exactly tell me which one would be the right fit for me, instead of me browsing through hundreds of products, doing my own research and figuring it out? And so the sort of the user expectation is really changing quickly, and that's also driving the adoption of AI, when you go to any of these websites.
Yeah, this is good. I'm excited to watch how this continues to evolve, because it seems like in all different things, like this is going to create a more tailored experience. It's going to create one more tailored shopping experience, a better user experience overall, and make me want to come back and feel like my needs are heard and being met for whatever I'm going to that particular thing for, like site or otherwise, whatever retail. And just to make sure I understood, you said retail. Is this primarily for retail brands, or like give us a bit of maybe some of the industries that this is being applied to now, or even the vision for like what it's going to be applied to in the future?
Yeah, so great question. So the core of everything that we are building applies to any vertical any vertical of commerce where any product or service is being sold, right? So we started with e-commerce being the vertical where, typically brands which are selling physical products, you could go to their sites and experience our, AI-powered sales agent or, the content marketer and so on. So we focused on that vertical. But the sales agent and the content marketer and the data scientist also apply to anybody who's selling any type of product or service to either an end consumer or another business, like it could be a B2B solution. Our portfolio is applicable to those verticals as well. So you can think of us as the AI platform for commerce. We started with e-commerce as our first vertical, but then now we are diversifying and expanding into other verticals of commerce.
Amazing. Well, this has been great, man. Great having you on the show today. I'm happy that Emily from your team booked you on the show, and we were able to meet and have a good conversation. She said you deliver, and you did. So thank you for coming on. I want to make sure before you get off the line, how do people follow up? How do they learn more about Big Sur AI?
Yeah, you can certainly reach out to us through our website, bigsur.ai, or you can shoot an email to info@bigsur.ai, and we will respond pretty quickly.
Wonderful. And for everybody listening, just so you know, my team will definitely put the link in the show notes, so you can just click on it and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, be sure to hit that record or subscribe button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, I'm bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Vinod, thanks again for coming on.
Adam, wonderful to be here. Great chat.